Joining me now from Baltimore is House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. All right, Congressman. Now, this big GOP retreat has had an obvious focus on 2020, what's ahead. Something specific that was presented to go against the very radical agenda of the Democrats?
Well, Laura, the president I thought, just had a great presentation tonight, and a good. If you're watching the Democrat debate and then you switch to the TV and watch the president, you really saw what's going to be the framework for the debate next year, and that is what this president's done to get this economy moving again. The president talked a lot about how every income level is doing better. African-American unemployment and Hispanic unemployment at the lowest levels in the history of our country because of what President Trump did working with the Republican Congress. And then you contrast that with what the Democrats are talking about. I mean, the Green New Deal, just think about how laughable. You know, cows are banned, planes are banned. All this stuff is lunacy, and yet all their presidential candidates are talking about it because they're scared to death of AOC and this squad, this, kind of high school squad. So the president has a great message in terms of what he's done to get the economy moving, to get this country back on track.
But Congressman,
we just contrast that with the Democrats.
We did a whole segment on the economy to start this hour. And it's obvious the Democrats are just going to ignore the numbers right in front of them. And they're just not going to. So that we know that. They're going to do that. But what they're also going to do, and the president addressed this today, is they're making a run for the guns. They think the gun issue will bring more suburban women into the fold, will cement suburban women's views of Trump negatively. And the president addressed this issue today. Watch.
On the background checks and various things having to do with guns, we're dealing with the Democrats, and I think we're dealing very well. There's a possibility that this is just a ploy to take your guns away, or whether or not it's meaningful. If it's meaningful, we'll make a deal. If this is a movement by the Democrats to take your guns away, then it's never going to happen, because we're never going to let that happen. We will always be there for our Second Amendment.
Congressman, red flag law, expanded background checks. We're told day in and day out by the Democrats that if you don't support this, you essentially support mass shootings in the United States. How do the Republicans respond? What are you going to do on those issues?
Right. First, let's go ask the Democrats, what have they actually done to stop gun violence? Every time that there's a mass shooting, and I'll tell you from personal experience, Laura, the first thing we should all be doing is praying for the victims. Instead, they're running for TV cameras to promote some bill that's going to take away the rights of law-abiding citizens. And admittedly, even by most Democrats, they'll tell you that their bills wouldn't have stopped some of these mass shootings. And so President Trump's been actually focused on solving the problem. If you look at what he did with the Fix NICS bill that he signed into law, that was focused on putting more data into the NICS system, the background check system of criminals. There are a lot of criminals, people who committed actual crimes that should have stopped them from buying a gun and committing a mass shooting, but the data wasn't put in the system, even including mental illnesses. And that was the case, by the way, in Charleston, in Sutherland Springs, even in Parkland.
But what about
the
background checks,
focused
Congressman?
on solving the problem.
What about background checks?
That is the background check system.
But for all gun sales,
right,
even among family members, friends, or if you can't give a gun to someone without a background check or a gun show. Would you be in favor of any of those areas having expanded or universal checks?
Well, their ideas, and look, Beto O'Rourke probably summed it up the best when he said he wants to take away your guns. That is their agenda. And if you look at their background check bill, they use the term background check and people think, hey, what's wrong with that? We have a background check system, by the way, that has problems that we've been working to fix. Their idea is to say if you're a law-abiding citizen, you want to loan your gun to a friend, you can't do that or you'll go to jail for up to a year. That's lunacy. The idea that your friend, maybe your neighbor who's been beaten by her ex-husband and she wants to defend herself, under Pelosi's bill, she'd have to wait up to 20 days to get that gun.
So you think something's going to happen?
Trying to tell the perpetrator to wait 20 days.
Do you think something's going to happen on this?
The president's not going to support. The president said he's willing to work with Republicans and Democrats to solve the problem of gun violence. Pelosi hasn't shown she's interested in solving that problem. Her agenda is focused on taking away the guns of law-abiding citizens.
Now,
and just read the bill she filed. Even on background checks, it wouldn't have stopped any of those mass shootings.
And I'll say every time I hear mandatory gun buyback, That's why people are going to buy guns now, because they're worried, like mandatory gun buyback. There are people like, we don't want that. It's like it's essentially going to be a gun ban, and everyone knows that. I think everybody knows that.
Barack Obama might have been the greatest gun salesman in the history of America because of his threats to take away our guns.
Yeah,
Luckily,
well,
we stopped him from doing it. But Pelosi's not going to be able to do it either. Let's respect the Second Amendment rights. It's amazing how quickly they want to take away constitutional rights while providing amnesty to people who come here illegally, voting rights to people, free health care to people who come here illegally.
Congressman,
That's what their agenda is all about.
Yeah, we've got to wrap, Congressman. But by the way, tonight we had people like Biden saying nonviolent people committing crimes should not go to jail. They have real problems on the way they're dealing with law and order in the Democrat Party.
Yeah,
That's
President Trump talked about
problem.
that tonight.
Yeah, all right.
It'll be a great debate. President Trump against whatever socialist they nominate.
Oh, I can't
wait. And the country is
all
not socialist. It's a
Congressman,
conservative nation, Laura.
Congressman, thanks so much.